From our D.C. bureau, Fran Townsend was a Homeland Security advisor for President George W. Bush and is now our CBS News senior national security analyst. Paula Reid in Washington is our justice reporter. Paula, let me start with you and some reaction to this. Jeff mentioned it's unlikely they'll ever be extradited. So what are the immediate legal consequences here?
That's right. Don't expect any arrests anytime soon. The Russian government is highly unlikely to arrest or extradite any of these people. But what this indictment does is that it gives very specific details about how the Russians meddled in the election and what crimes were committed under U.S. law.
All right. So, Fran, the indictment doesn't mention the Russian government. But in your estimation, it's hard to believe there's not some sort of link.
No, look at the size. When you look at this, the number of people involved, the number of shell companies involved, the amount of money that this took. I mean, this was a very elaborate influence, covert action influence scheme. And it's impossible to think that this would have not, the blessing and direction would not have come from the Kremlin and the top of the Russian government.
And so, Paula, immediately, if this doesn't mean very much legally, then what does it mean longer term then, potentially in the context of the investigation?
Well, the investigation continues to move forward, and Mueller continues to gather evidence about any financial transactions between the Trump campaign and Russia. He's also talking to witnesses about this question of obstruction of justice. Now, just to give you a sense, earlier this week, he spoke with former chief strategist Steve Bannon, and just yesterday, they interviewed former legal team spokesman Mark Corallo. So despite these claims from the White House that this is all wrapping up soon, what we know is that this investigation and the trials that they need to put on, that's going to last well into this year and probably into next.
And Fran, quickly to you before we go here. Regarding the indictment, you've zeroed in on this. There's an unidentified American listed.
That's right, Jeff. Everybody ought to assume that that unidentified American is cooperating with Bob Mueller, probably has taken a guilty plea. It may or may not be sealed. And the question is, what does that unidentified American know about any connection to either political campaign here in the United States, specifically the Trump campaign? This
is someone who was, they believe, directly helping whoever was in Russia.
That's right, because they wanted them to target purple states, right, the swing states. It was quite, that's why I say it was quite deliberate, and this individual is key to understanding what other Americans may have been involved in this.
All right, Fran Townsend, our national security analyst, and Paula Reid in Washington, thanks to both of you.